to welcome you to this infrastructure and engineering session. We're gonna have the speakers do their presentations, and then towards the end, if we have time for a panel discussion, we will invite the speakers to come up here and participate in the panel discussion. If we don't have time for that, then we'll go straight to the next event, which I'll announce at the end of the session. So without further ado, let me start off with by welcoming our keynote speakers, Engineer Abdul Aziz Al Yousefi, Dr. Edgar Small, and Professor Naomi Brooks. We will start with a presentation by Engineer Abdul Aziz Al Yousefi on the synergy between value engineering and sustainability. Abdul Aziz is the founder and owner of the first value engineering office in the Arab world and is the only certified value specialist for life from SAVE International. He's the president of SAVE International, the Arabian Gulf chapter, and has over 30 years of experience in value engineering, life cycle costing, project management, and has led more than 500 value engineering study workshops in construction, oil and gas, operation and maintenance, and other fields. He wrote the first book on value engineering ever written in Arabic, the title Value Management, Concept and Techniques. It's in its 5th edition now. Engineer Abdul Aziz holds a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from Arizona State University and a Master's from the State University of New York at Albany, and has degrees in electrical engineering and project management. Without further ado, I will welcome Engineer Abdul Aziz Al Yousefi.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ala. Good morning, everyone. I know the morning sessions kind of very slow. You know, some people didn't have breakfast, and there are some people who, you know, just waking up. By the time I finish my presentation, then there are some people who already woke up. So I'll make it short. Okay. Now this is forward and backward here. The presentation here. Okay. All right. First of all, I know there are some people who always say, when is this presenter going to finish? I'm going to tell you, I'm going to finish when the slides reach 49. So this is one. So once I approach 59, so you know what I'm going to finish, okay? I'll make it in 30 minutes or less. I'd like to make it sometime shorter. I know there are some people who do have questions, so I'll leave it for that. All right. Now, first of all, I'd like to talk about value engineering, and then we'll talk about sustainability, both shortly. I would assume that there are some people who already have some idea about value engineering and some ideas about sustainability, but you know, I'm going to speak it. You know, regarding the value studies now became mandatory in the following areas in the US and Japan. Saudi Arabia is the only Arab country who mandate the use of value engineering for all projects that are more than $5 million, okay, which is about 20 million dirham, okay? And now it has been applied almost everywhere. Now, as far as the accomplishment of value engineering in the Gulf area, since the start of value engineering at the Gulf area in 1978, now more than 6,000 VE studies have been done, more than 70,000 participants, in the studies. Now it's done at the rate of 250 VE studies a year. And the saving reached well over 30 billion. Now, of course, while maintaining quality. Now, and the saving range from 5 to 30%, but I would say any saving that is more than 10%, I shouldn't really give the credit to value engineering. It may be bad design to start with. But the most important thing is the rate of return is 1 to 100, meaning for every dollar or every dirham you spend in value engineering consultation, you get $100 saving. I think 1 to 10 is good, not to mention 1 to 100, okay? Now, I'm going to talk about, why we do value engineering and also what makes it different and the benefit of, VE benefit in sustainable construction, and then some recorded results, and then we'll finalize it by questions and answer later on. Okay. Now, the sustainability, as you know, I'm just going to talk about a specific subject, which is sustainable development, which is, development that meets the needs of the present without really compromising the ability of the future. We would like to save, as you know, the sustainability, it's all the renewable energy, we get an abundant of energy that we can use. And also sustainable construction is the creation of and responsible management for health and others. And every now and then we have a new buzzword, VE, TKM, business process reengineering, Six Sigma, Kaizen, and all that. Why is that? Why every now and then we have a new buzzword? Now we've got VE, or value engineering, or value management. I think the reason is because of culture. Value engineering started in the US, so the Japanese says we've got something called TKM, the British says we've got re-engineering in ISO 9000. So, don't really bother with the label. If you don't know some of these buzzwords, don't worry, you might know it, but under another label. So that's, I would say if you read the content of these, I would think they would have 80 to 85% in common, okay? So now, what is value engineering? The value engineering is an organized team effort. It's not done by a person, aimed at analyzing functions and quality of the project, which is good service or a process, in order to generate practical, cost-effective. Now, I didn't say cost-saving. It costs, in many value engineering studies, we've actually added money to the initial cost. The real saving is on the life cycle cost saving. And we do cover, function, cost, and quality. Now, what is quality? Many people think it's the best, but the definition of quality in value engineering is it's actually fit for use or fit for purpose. I know that the most common definition is conformist to requirement, but when I'm talking about, say, designing a school in a private school in a rich neighborhood, the quality is different than a government school in a low-income housing. So, the quality is different. It depends on the purpose. Now, also, the quality doesn't have to be tough, durable, not necessarily. This is a paper cup which only you use once, and it's very fragile. You can smash it with your hand, and it doesn't really make a difference. Yet, it is much better quality than crystal glasses in that particular situation. Okay? So that's what we meant by quality. Now, value engineering is done in 3 stages. The pre-study, like any other work, you've got something, preparation to something you do, and then you do the V workshop, and then you do the implementation, the follow-up. Now, the value engineering, the one in the middle, here, which is a VE workshop, it is done in 7 stages, where we start with information, function analysis, we generate idea, we evaluate, develop, present, and then we go and implement. That's how we do value engineering. Now, of course, there is a lot to it than that. There are so many tools and techniques that we use within each phase. Okay? Now, when do we do value engineering? Of course, we do it before design. I know there are some people who say, well, we've got a problem. Now, the budget is, the bids are more than the budget. Oops, we know something called value engineering. Let's do it. Well, that's too late. You see, any change that you do at the beginning, it costs almost nothing. At the beginning, it's only a paper and pencil. but the saving is high, and the most important line is the acceptance level here. The level is, you know, anything goes at the beginning. So if you do any change, I'm not talking just about value engineering, any change, if you do it later here or there, everything is against you. So what we do the first value engineer study before design. The second V study, we do it before 30% of design. Now, more than that, it's too late. I know that there is always time for improvement. That's what we always say. But the most important thing is not just doing the VE, it's implementing the proposal that you come up with. If you do it before 30%, well, everything is already decided. You're not going to go back to square one. So that is what we have. We're talking about the ideal here. And we, in the last 10 years in our office in Riyadh, we have not studied a project beyond 30% of design, because I do serve the client by saying it's not really a good idea to do VE after 30%. So, and then there is another step, which is design review. Now, you know, when we talk about the most influential in every organization, and that's who we always go to, you know, the decision makers in many of the projects, not the person at the top, not the minister, not the president, not the VP, not the workers, but not the manager, but they are the senior managers. The level of influence is high. They know the vision, the missions, the goals and objectives, and also they meet with the people below. So the level of influence is high. So those, by default, became decision makers. So those who we go and address our value engineering and get their approval. And just to know, you know, these are the decision makers. We want to know what the decision makers think about quality. So we went when we asked them. We did a survey, and we say, where do you spend your time? 7, 8 hours a day. You know, where do you spend it? Marketing, human resource, project, finance, and quality. Now, when we asked them, that's what they said. They said they spend it on almost 60% on quality. Now, do you believe them? Well, we didn't believe them, and we said, oh, fine, no problem. You know, we've got a cart, and for 3 months, 120 senior managers in Riyadh, Abu Dhabi, Tampa Bay, Florida, and it is in the oil and gas business, so the most important. And we've collected the real for 3 months, 120 senior managers all over the world. It ended up, what they thought is 60%, it ended up only 5%. So this is how much they know about value engineering. Where the money is devoted, that the time is for the money here. And we know that common sense is not always common practice. Now, these are the decision makers. If this is what they think about quality, well, then what about the rest of the organization? You know? Now, according to a survey in Saudi Arabia, the level of satisfaction, you know, that's in 1991. Only 13% they were satisfied. Now, we thought that it was going to be better. You know, that's almost 500 person who, you know, surveyed. In 1999, it became also even worse, which is became 4%. Now, who is the influential? Who affect the design in all projects? You see, definitely not the owner. Now, the owner who normally sits at the head of the table, you know, he thinks he's a decision maker. Unfortunately, he is a decision taker, not maker. You know, there is a big difference. So the decision maker is the designer, or whoever starts with the design. It could be a design section within your organization. So that's where you catch, you know, and solve problems. Now, there are so many reasons for poor value, and I'm not going to talk about it here. I'd like to present to you a solution rather than talking about problem, but there are so many. And I think that the biggest problem is we don't have data. We don't have data. We don't have database for costing. We don't have database for. We don't have our own standards and specifications or regulation. We don't. We don't have such a thing as the Gulf or the Emirates or the Saudi. We all use American or British or a mix of both. But we don't have something. We don't even have an entity who do these standards. The best thing we could do, we've got the National Electric, the Saudi Building Code, for example, and it's still under, process. And so that's one of the biggest problems is we don't have data. Now, the customer requirements, they always look in value engineering, they look for financial, operational, and technical. And the objective, I would say to you, without any reservation, most of the project that we have studied. I wouldn't be exaggerating if I say 80 to maybe 85% of the project did not start with a clearly defined goals in everybody's head. It may, I would like it to be written, but in most cases in the head of project manager, but it's not really spelled out. Most people, they don't even know what the goal of the project, and that's a big problem. Now, so we do say the value engineering is cost, function, and quality. Now, that is the value equation. If you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it, or you cannot manage it. So actually, the function is the base, and we balance cost with quality. Now, this is the value equation, and the higher the number, the better is the value. Now, the value is not what we call, money or price. We've got so much different name from, value for the meaning. If I would ask you, which is more expensive, diamonds or fresh air that we breathe? Of course, fresh air is free, but diamond is very expensive. But which is more valuable to you? Water. You could give all the diamonds and the gold in the world for just a cup of or a glass of water. So we're talking about the value is the benefits and usefulness. Now, here is an example without really talking about details. We do have many tools in value engineering where it could actually quantify the quality. And that is the biggest problem that we face in many of our engineering projects. Here we've got, construction system, okay? And then we have these quality criteria, which is, notice the money is not here, the money is there. So I'm not going to talk about it and bother you with all the labels here, but then definitely these do not have the same weight. So there is a way where we determine the weight of each criteria, then we apply to the options, and now we say the value, for example, here is the best choice as far as quality, then this is cost, and value is quality over cost. The higher the number, the better is the value. And that's how we measure value. It's not just a matter of money. It is actually, we call this quality-based selection. This is you base your decision on quality. And also, here is, for example, to buy a laptop. Here, the criteria is different here from one situation to another. And we applied the option, the criteria, we determine the weight of the criteria, we apply to the options, and we determine which is the quality and that. And, I have also applied this to, I wish I had, I thought that I had the slides at the beginning, is how to use this system in your life. So there was a slide, which I hope it was there, but it was deleted. I don't know, for some reason. It's how to choose a wife. So you've got the choices here, or how to choose a husband. You've got the choices here, Samira, Suad, and Noura, And the criteria here, you could say age, beauty, and others. So you could actually do that. So it is quantifying the quality. If I have time, I'll show it to you. Maybe it's in the common slides. We do have another tool which is called a quality model. Okay, this is where we determine where the low quality area. We also have another tool which determines the weight of each criteria. And now all this, we do it before design, before we do the VE study. And we have something we call a selection matrix, where we get a priority. Now, so value engineering is customizing quality and optimizing the cost. And the cost, as you know, 80% of the cost comes from 20% of the items, so we do concentrate on those 20%. And for example, look at the cost of a building. If you just concentrate on the top 3 or 4, that's enough. Should you really worry about finishing structure or, say, insulation or equipment? Just like the quality model, we concentrate on the low quality area to make it higher. And here we concentrate on the high cost area to make it lower. So we optimize quality and lower cost. The value engineering talked about the life cycle cost. Life cycle cost, many times we deal with the initial cost, which is the tip of the iceberg. Now that's what we see. But what you don't see is single cost and annual cost. Now, these are the running costs. So life cycle is both initial plus running cost. And for example, here is the tip of the iceberg. The rest of the berg, or the mountain here, it's below. And the problem is we don't have database to initial cost, not to mention the database for life cycle cost. So, you know, many times we try to lower this, and nobody really care about the rest. Now, let me just show you, an example where we have studied the hospital. The hospital is 365 million. That 365 million makes only 8% of the total life cycle cost. If you say 100 million, so what have you done? You lower the 8 to maybe 6, 6.5. That's all of what you've done. But what about the 92% who's going to take care of it? Unfortunately, no one, because different people comes at different stages, designers, then project, then constructor, then operation and maintenance. Anyway, you know, as far as, talk about the sustainability, you know that the building and infrastructure, almost use up to 46, now this is the latest estimate, almost 48%. And also the contribution to the overall atmosphere, emission. So we do have, an important factor to do sustainability. Now, if we go back to what we have done, value engineering comes in 3 stages. Okay. Now, the stage number 1, which is the pre-study, the V activity, we do so many tasks. I'm just going to mention the top 3, and then you could also read it in the paper, or you could have it in the presentation. But we obtain senior management, also obtain a project data and information, and so there are so many tasks. Your success of a good study is how much information you have at the beginning. So we do life cycle costing, we do the identity of the scope, and then when we start the value engineering, we start with the information phase. The information. This is the V activities, and the associated V activities, which is associated with sustainable construction, are these: maintain of resource consumptions, also maximize the source of reuse and all that. Reusing or renewable energy is one of the most important factors that we do look in value engineering. When we go to the function, you see, information function analysis and other. When we go to function analysis, these are the VE tasks in value engineering, but these are the sustainable construction, okay? And also when we go to creativity, where we generate ideas. The purpose of the presentation is not to just look for all, but just to take an idea that we do cover almost every aspect of the sustainable construction. Here we say we maintain energy and auditing, providing, enhancing delivery. And when we talk about evaluation, also there are some V activities, and we also go to the sustainable construction, where are many activities that is associated to it. And also when we go to so far we are in the fourth phase of the value engineering. We go to the fifth phase, which is development, and these are the V activity. And also we go to the presentation phase. And then when we go to the implementation, here are the activities. So it's, you know, almost the value engineering goes hand in hand with sustainable construction. Now, I just want to conclude, you know, of course, in a presentation like this, you don't have time to speak about all what you want to do, but just a spark. I just want to say a spark of what is value engineering. Value engineering is a quick task-oriented, has many tools and techniques to improve the quality and save resources. Notice I didn't say money, resources, which is money, time, people, efforts, and others. And therefore, VE helps to plan you know, better sustainable construction, and also help that. The value engineering roadmap, or I call it total value management, we start with information, then function analysis, then idea generation, then evaluation. After presentation, some value engineering study, we don't know where the implementation is. It here, or there, or there in the bushes? So it depends from one situation to another. Prescription for doing value engineering and mixing it with sustainability, do the V study before 30% of design, begin with the end in mind, which is implementation, and also apply the 80-20 principle, where 20% of the ideas give you 80% of the results. You know, we apply it almost throughout. And, you know, positive contribution for the designer. We do life cycle costing. And benefit for the organization, improve the project, come up with many practical solutions in a short time. Value engineering, by the way, time, it takes from beginning to end. Talk about 12 to 15 working days, that's all. You know, it's task-oriented, quick solution, quick ideas, and many solutions. And for the benefit of you, you know, we do have also a very close tie association with PMI, where if you attend a course in value engineering, you get points, you get credit, you get PDUs for what you do. And also, if you have, there are certification, which is AVS, BMP, CVS. You could go back to the paper, or you could go to visit my website for more details. And you know, that's it. And I would really thank you for listening. And I welcome all questions, of course, after the session. And thank you very much. Okay.